Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast, Sunday Stroll Edition. My name is Andrew Putters. This is Joe Nicely. It's time to talk football. NFL is king. NFL is here to stay. What's football? It is king, right, Joe?
It's king, man. It's king. We're a golf podcast bringing you football because you guys keep downloading this, so we really appreciate it. And as long as you want to listen, we'll keep trying to do it for you. Talk a little football each week.
Absolutely. If you like what you hear, subscribe, hit the like, share with your buddies. It really helps us get our show out there. And this show is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Come on and prop up with Thrive Fantasy this season. Thrive Fantasy is a daily fantasy sports app for player props. They've eliminated all the need to do countless research of hours because they only ask about the top-tier athletes in their respective sport. For NFL, choose 10 out of 20 player props and build your lineup. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over and under based on the likelihood it would occur. The more points of the selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points and win a share of the prize pool. Thrive has awarded over $1.4 million in prizes since launching in 2018, and every week has a $50,000 guaranteed prize for the NFL. Use the promo code TheTurn when signing up and get a 100% match deposit up to $50 when using the promo code TheTurn. Download Thrive Fantasy Download Thrive Fantasy at the App Store or Play Store or visiting their website thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and hashtag prop up today. That's a new way to play fantasy sports. Find props you like, put them in a lineup. It's a little different than either betting on sports against the spread or playing on DFS lineups. It's just a different way of doing it. Check it out, folks. Use this promo code TheTurn. You get a 100% match up to $50. Week 2, Joe. Kind of a disappointing week for you. What people, if they listen to our golf, they found out
week 3, buddy. Week 3.
Oh,
it's flying by.
Yeah. It's so fast, I don't even know what week it is. Sorry, people. I had a baby this week, number 4. I'm sleep deprived. I'm hungry, frustrated. But, yeah, week 3, I got paired up against Joe in the weekly fantasy Sunday stroll. And it has, unfortunately, I'm 0-2. I have the least amount of points in our league because nobody on my team scored a touchdown. And unfortunately, they caught up this week. Everybody scored a touchdown. And as we're
floodgates opened up.
That's right. And as we're recording this, it's halftime of the Kansas City-Baltimore game. And my quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, has 29 points in our league. He is just thrashing Baltimore as we speak.
Straight deal.
Yep. So, Joe, what do you got anything you want to talk about that you saw in week 2 before I give us a rundown of the scores?
Yeah, man, just a lot of great spots to attack that have been great so far this year. Worked out again. Dallas, Seattle immediately comes to mind. Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind. So is Dak Prescott. I was heavily invested in that game. Stacked it about every way possible. And unfortunately, the other big news was injuries. It seemed like I had a ton of those guys again this week. Deontay Johnson went down for Pittsburgh. Dallas Goedert went down for Philly. We saw some guys underperform that were popular. Kenyon Drake immediately comes to mind in that category. Unfortunately for me, he's a player I was really big on, and he hasn't to this point carried it over from last year. That offense has looked good, even though they went down to Detroit. Drake hadn't been a big part of it yet. I thought the spot against Detroit was a good one for him, and he underperformed. So that's kind of my big takeaways. We know we can target the Seahawks offense, the Cowboys offense. We want to target anybody going up against Atlanta's defense. They pulled Trubisky and brought Nick Foles in, and he looked amazing. But Chicago might be the worst 3-0 team ever. Unfortunately, they took down my Falcons to do it. But, yeah, man, that's kind of my takeaways. Once you give us a rundown of it.
Bears worst 3-0 team of all time.
Easily. Worst I've ever seen, man.
Easily, not even close. Okay, so week 3, let me give you a rundown real quick. Miami drills Jacksonville on Thursday night, 31-13. Like Joe just said, Chicago makes a roaring comeback against Atlanta Falcons, starting to be a trend on the Falcons side, 30-26. The Bills destroy Los Angeles Rams early on. Rams come back, take the lead. Bills win in the end. Josh Allen heroics, 35-32. Cleveland Browns hold off Washington football team, 34-20. Titans in a back-and-forth battle against the Minnesota Vikings, 31-30. Las Vegas takes one on the chin against the Patriots. Never was a close game, 36-20. Giants thrashed the 49ers thrashed the New York Giants. There's problems in New York, folks, and it's not just the Jets. The New York Giants are a terrible football team, period. Cincinnati Bengals, Philadelphia Eagles, 23-23 on a weird punt on fourth down with 19 seconds to go on 4th and 12. I don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh beats Houston Texans 28-21. Colts destroy another New York team, the Jets, 36-7. Panthers hold off the Chargers 21-16 without their stud. Tampa Bay Bucks beat Denver Broncos 28-20. And it's the surprising upset of the week. Detroit Lions go to Arizona and win 26-23. Seattle beats the Dallas Cowboys in a very good game, 38-31. Green Bay Packers beat the New Orleans Saints 37-30. And as we speak, 27-10 Kansas City over Baltimore at halftime. So, in saying all that, I got some things I want to touch on before we get into injuries. So, surprise, Tennessee Titans are good. They need to figure out their defense, but they're good. New York Giants are horrible. Philadelphia punting in on 4th and 12 at the 50-yard line with 19 seconds to go in overtime. Where do you want to start, Joe? Which one of these you want to hit on first? We're going to hit on a couple of these. I want to say this first. Green Bay Packers beat New Orleans Saints 37-30. New Orleans Saints are a one-man show. If they didn't have Alvin Kamara on their team, they'd be 0-3 right now. Now, saying that, a lot of it has to do is in short yards, third down situations. Mike Thomas is an option. He's not on the field right now. Drew Brees is done, folks. I hate to say it. Great competitor. He's done. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. We talked about on the show a couple times that we love Alvin Kamara. We're very familiar with him from his time here at Tennessee. We're in Knoxville, and he's healthy, and it's making all the difference in the world. Fire him up again this week. Another great matchup coming up, week 4. Both New York football teams are horrible. It is not a good time to be a football fan in New York right now. I don't see either one of those situations improving as the year goes on. Philly, man, like you said, really, really weird game. It looked like they were really building something. Obviously, won a Super Bowl there. Carson Wentz looked like he was going to be a perennial MVP contender there early in his career, and has just steadily declined. Hasn't looked good. That offense hadn't looked creative. They got a ton of injuries on the O-line and in the receiving core. So, we can probably chalk that up to it a bit. But just hadn't looked like the Eagles we expected. Joe Burrow's the real deal. I think the Bengals will find a way to screw it up, as they always seem to. But Burrow seems like the real deal to me. I've watched him a couple times now. I've been really impressed. I think he's got a bright future, even though it's kind of scary with that franchise. But yeah, man, that's kind of my takeaways from that. And Atlanta keeps finding new and creative ways to lose games. It seems like we say that every week. Lost a crazy one to Dallas last week, and now allow the Bears to bring a backup quarterback in and come roaring back, blow a big lead. So you got to wonder how much time Dan Quinn has left in Atlanta. They had a Super Bowl run, which they gave that game away to, up 28-3. He's had unbelievable offensive weapons for years, and you kind of wonder now if he's wasted those, even though they have a great young receiver in Calvin Ridley. You kind of wonder if the clock's not ticking on Dan Quinn, and it probably should be. they saved his job last year. But if something doesn't turn around in a hurry, his time in Atlanta's got to be up.
Yeah, and I mean, it was bad last week, but this week was even worse with the comeback from Chicago. Bad last week when they're, up what, 14, 15 points. I can't remember maybe 16 against Detroit. It was 4 minutes. I mean, against Dallas 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, they were up big in that game. Crazy onside kick. It just seems like everything went wrong for them. But it's one of those crazy high-scoring games against a really explosive Dallas offense, and you can kind of understand it a little bit. But there's just no excuse for what happened in Week 3 against Chicago. And you just, like I said, you have to wonder if Quinn has lost this team, lost their confidence. It might be time. As much as he's done for the franchise, I'm a Falcons fan. I cheer for the Falcons and the Titans, and really love that team down there. And you hate to say it, but it might be time to try something different.
Yeah, I saw him rip the headset off at the end of the game. More bad news for the Atlanta. I saw this morning they announced Young Ho Koo strained his groin. He's been a pretty reliable kicker.
My kicker in our league. I'm telling you, man, my team is it's unbelievable. I've never had so many injuries hit at once. And all my years of playing season long, I've never had so many injuries hit so fast. It seems like they've come in bunches this year, and even my kickers hurt, man.
Yeah. So, last week, your man from Carolina goes down. My man in New York goes down. In McCaffrey and Barkley. This week, Chris Carson, it's like he sprained his knee. They were worried maybe it might have been an MCL tear. It looks like it's just a sprained knee. There's no way he's going to be 100% the rest of the year, even though he's going to miss a few games, maybe be out 2 to 4 weeks with this injury. This is the problem they ran into last year, keeping those running backs healthy, because they are the horse of those. We know Russell Wilson has all these great fourth quarter comeback antics, keeping the play alive, making an incredible pass in the corner of the end zone with no time left kind of plays. But really their nuts and bolts is going to be their pound and ground attack. And they ran into this issue last year. They got Carlos Hyde backing him up, but I don't know. They need Chris Carson healthy for that team to roll on, to be the powerhouse that it can be. Probably the second, arguably top 3 team in the NFC for sure. If he's healthy. So they need him. Another interesting injury I pulled up, Jarrell Casey, DB at Denver, torn bicep out for the year. Denver has 5 other starters on defense out. They are going to get beat up this year, I think, and that's already shown.
And they've got a lot of offensive starters out too.
I saw Akers hurt, quarterback's hurt too, so that's a big deal. Rookies, Chase Young leaves the field, does not come back for Washington. They were holding their breath on that. Looks like it's a minor injury, maybe back this week. Chris Godwin, got an MRI on his hamstring. Make sure it's not torn, just pulled. That they have a lot of weapons in there in Tampa Bay, but he is obviously a deep threat. And maybe a positive note on the offense, Detroit Galladay played this week, not 100%, but 7 targets, 6 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. He did what he was supposed to do. He's usually going to be your 8 to 12 target wide receiver. Like I said over and over, on paper, this Detroit team looks like a 10-wing team. They go down there and pretty much, I'm not going to say dominate Arizona, but they were ahead of that game pretty much the whole game against a very, very good Arizona team. Detroit controlled the ball. They did what they had to do as far as keeping the ball on the ground with Peterson. Threw when they needed to. Stafford was accurate. They at least going to have a coach through 8 weeks now, because I thought the coach and the GM was going to get fired week 8. But Galladay back, maybe that gives them a spark. I don't know.
It makes a big difference, man. Just a guy like that being on the field doesn't even have to pile up stats. It's just kind of the strain and pressure that he can put on a defense. A guy like Galladay or a Julio Jones for Atlanta. These big time receivers, man, they garner so much attention from the defense that it opens things up all over the field. And you saw it against Arizona, just from Galladay's presence. That offense looked a whole lot better. We know they've got talent. Sometimes held back by their coach, we feel like. So Detroit could be a team, that you never know could get on a roll, run off a few victories. That division, even though the records aren't that bad, outside of Minnesota's is bad, but the Bears, you feel like, even though Foles is probably going to be in there now, that you don't feel like it's going to last. Green Bay seems like the real deal, though, man. They went down to New Orleans and took the Saints down, and the Aaron Rodgers revenge tour continues.
Absolutely. That's what I think it is for sure. He's showing out, and he's not going to be – that was his best receiver, right? Wasn't –
Yeah, Adams was out.
Yeah, Adams is out. Lazard, whoever that guy is, rookie, undrafted. But next week, I'm going to go ahead and say it here. As down as I am on Detroit's coaching staff and maybe locker room, they're going to host the Saints next week and probably beat them, I feel like. That is unless Thomas is back. I think they will beat him. They will beat them if Thomas is back. I know there's no fans in Detroit, but they seem to play good teams well at home, for whatever reason. Maybe because they're good and they just lose games.
Might have something to do with it.
Yeah, they might just be good and can't win. How's that? They might just have.
Yeah, they could play New Orleans tough, man. Like you said, it's not the same Saints team without Michael Thomas in there. But from a fantasy DraftKings perspective, you can just give me all the Kamara next week against Detroit. It's early in the week when we do this. We do it on Monday night, but I'll have a ton of Alvin Kamara exposure against the Lions. I know that's your team, but I really like what he's able to do, and I really like what running backs in general are able to do against Detroit. Going into last week, they were allowing the most yards per carry in the NFL. I'm sure that changed now, but you still got a lot of Kamara's chances against this defense.
Yeah, I do. The Saints line up under center a lot and run the ball some, not just from the shotgun. Arizona primarily, when they run the ball, it's out of the shotgun. Completely different look. More of a, and they can give Kamara a breather with Murray, who's more physical and speed. So should be a very interesting game to watch, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think the line's New Orleans favored 54.5. It should be a good game. It'll probably come down to the last two possessions, I would imagine. Either a team available to put it away or a team able to come back and win the game at the end, in my opinion. Game to watch next week, though, obviously, is the 2-3-0 teams matching up. Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Pittsburgh's favored 2 at Tennessee. Should be a great game. I mean, two very good defenses, two very good offenses, or I say efficient. How about two very efficient? Steelers have a very good defense. Two very efficient offenses. Should be a good game. Big Ben's back. No other game really stands out to me. I mean, Atlanta's going to get destroyed by Green Bay. You got the two most disappointing teams in the NFL, Minnesota and Houston, both 0-3, playing each other. Both teams have major issues. And, yeah, I know it's just Monday. We really hadn't had a chance to look at it. You see anything else sticking out? I mean, Indianapolis favored 2 at Chicago. They're going to – if Chicago wins this game, I don't know. I don't even know what we can say about them.
We're going to say they're a worst 4-0 team.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I really like the Colts. I feel like they're kind of finding their way. Jonathan Taylor is going to be a good back, especially for fantasy purposes, because he's going to get so much volume. That receiving core is without Paris Campbell. T.Y. Hilton I keep waiting on T.Y. Hilton to have like a spot game, but it hadn't came yet. Not the greatest spot against Chicago, but I mean certainly doable. And you know that he's going to get all the targets in that receiving core, so he's a guy you can look at. A guy that I don't think a guy on a team I don't think we touched on at all. Certainly relevant for DraftKings purposes and just impressive in general is Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. That dude is straight dealing right now, man. He is racking up fantasy points. He is playing great football. Really improved, cut down on the mistakes, and they beat a tough Rams team. They were up on huge, then went down through no fault of Josh Allen's, and then he brought them back at the end. I've been super impressed. He's certainly a guy you can turn to on DraftKings. I think he's 4, 5, 6 spots down the quarterback scale. Obviously, some studs ahead of him, but definitely a guy you want to look at with the numbers he's putting up. Playing the Raiders, who, kind of held Cam Newton down this past week. But I think you certainly have to give Josh Allen and the Bills' offense some attention.
Yeah, he's a physical specimen, could run, throw. We worried about his arm last year and maybe his decision-making at times, but it seems like it's right there. You don't want to give him the ball with 3 minutes to go, that's for sure. Another game I'm looking at, Dallas minus 4.5 against Cleveland. Who knows what Cleveland's ever going to do, but we know Dallas is going to score points. So Detroit +4, Dallas minus 4.5, Colts -2. There you go. That's what I'm thinking on Monday. That's my Monday observation, Joe, before the week's even over from the previous week.
I like it. I like it, man. I'm with you on the Dallas offense. It's just talking, fantasy DraftKings. It's definitely an offense I'm gonna continue to target. Dak Prescott's playing unbelievable. We saw get some different receivers involved against Seattle, but you still have to love that kind of concentrated usage there with Gallup, Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. Of course, Ezekiel Elliott's going to get his share of the carries. So that's definitely an offense I want to continue to target. A really pretty juicy spot for Seattle this week. They're going to Miami. We've seen Miami already getting a couple shootouts. So have to feel like that's a great spot, especially for the passing offense of the Seahawks if Carson's out. They've been more aggressive this year. I've kind of complained, and I think a lot of people in the fantasy community have, about their conservative play calling, but they've really turned Russell Wilson loose this year, and I'm just going to keep riding them, man. I have no reservations about just continuing to go back to these guys. The Seahawks offense, the Cowboys offense, Josh Allen. Want to target the Falcons defense. You have to pick your spots. A lot of it's matchup based, but a lot of times you can get too cute and try to think too far outside the box. So, there's some certain offenses and defenses that we're already seeing we definitely want to target on almost a weekly basis.
Absolutely. Like I said, we just hope Carson gets back. I mean, let it roll on. We're going to see another probably thriller in January, Green Bay at Seattle, I see, or Seattle at Green Bay. It doesn't matter. It should be a great show. We've seen them before in the NFC Championship. We'll see it again probably this year. Gonna be some coaches definitely exiting their status after this season. You got to think the Jets guy's gone, probably Detroit, Atlanta. I still don't know.
I don't know if he's on the hot seat or not, but he should be. Bill O'Brien.
Oh yeah, he's got to be on.
They played Pittsburgh tough. I was actually surprised. They played them a lot tougher than I thought they would, but man, it's unbelievable kind of what he's done to that franchise over the last few years with some of his decision making. It just really makes you scratch your head to try to figure out what the guy's going for. I'm not sure he knows what he's going for. You trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. You think, maybe they want to be a power run first football team, but at the same time, they got Deshaun Watson, who's one of the better playmakers in the league that they just gave a huge contract to. So it's kind of clashing philosophies there. But yeah, man, O'Brien should definitely be on a hot seat somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Golly, he has made some terrible on the field decision making too. I mean, you got to think Deshaun Watson's top 8 quarterback, and if you're a top 8 quarterback, if you got a top 8 quarterback on your team, you can do things in the NFL. And I'm really interested, like I said, but maybe because of the fandom too. I'm a big Ben fan, and not necessarily off the field, but what he does on the field is amazing. What he's able to do, and the Titans should be a playoff-like game, even though it's not going to be a playoff-like atmosphere with no fans.
Right.
But should be a playoff-like game. I mean, these are going to be teams that are going to be in the playoffs, with barring a season-ending injury to a key role player. So this will be fun. Just like last week, Seattle and Dallas was a good game to watch. So maybe you can get back up, Joe. Like you said, you got a long year of injuries to overcome. Good team on paper too. I felt like I had a good team on paper, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens.
Just keep fighting, man. I think I'll at least get McCaffrey back hopefully at some point. I know Barkley's out for the year for you, but it's one of those things when you got injuries in season long leagues like that. If you do have a guy coming back, it's something you can kind of look forward to, and try to just maintain. Maybe go 500. That's what I'm hoping to do. Maybe go 500 until I can get McCaffrey back, and then have a strong run down the stretch. That's about all you can hope for when you lose a guy like that.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's all we got for us today. You've listened to the Turn Fantasy Golf Podcast, Sunday Stroll Edition. My name's Andrew Putters. That's Joe Nicely. Check out Thrive Fantasy and use the promo code The Turn to get 100% match up to $50. Go check them out. And anything else, Joe, on the way out?
That's it, man. Just thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, on the podcast, all the outlets for that. We definitely appreciate you spreading the word, and thank y'all for checking us out.
All right, buddy. Talk to you next week, man.
All right.